That's how you clutch out a win in the NBA playoffs. What a game by the Denver Nuggets when everything in the first quarter looked like it was about to fall off the rails. The Denver Nuggets, they respond, they step up and get an excellent victory over the Los Angeles Clippers. What a performance. Y'all, I cannot say enough about the grit and the tenacity that team showed from the second, third, fourth quarter and into overtime. You want to talk about an effort and a game plan executed by David Adelman. You want to talk about a bunch of different players that decided that this was not going to be the game that they lost. This game was phenomenal, from Nikola Jokic to Jamal Murray to Aaron freaking Gordon to Christian Braun to Russell Westbrook. Every single one of those players stepped in and made huge plays for this team that literally swung the momentum of the game on a possession-by-possession basis. That was phenomenal. Phenomenal. I cannot tell you what it means for this team to start the game as poorly as they did. And even with that, they come out midway through the second quarter and into the second half and overtime, and they put a defensive masterclass together versus James Harden, Ivica Zubac, Kawhi Leonard. They absolutely put their foot down after the first quarter. Y'all, and the numbers bear it out. They only allowed the LA Clippers to a 90 half-court offensive rating in this game. And y'all, once we get into the numbers, once they update on NBA.com, I'm telling you right now, this was a special performance by all of the players that were on the court for the Denver Nuggets, and it started on the defensive end. It started on the defensive end. Y'all, the first quarter, the Denver Nuggets, they gave up 35 points in the first quarter. 35 points in the first quarter. And it was just like they were getting anything and everything they wanted. James Harden, 15 points in the first quarter, easy. Kawhi Leonard was getting to his spots. Ivica Zubac was scoring all over the place at the rim. Jokic, for a player that's as accomplished as he is and as good as he is, that was probably the worst defensive quarter you could have imagined from a player of his caliber. In space, on the drop, the defense at the rim was horrible. He got blown by Kawhi Leonard. There was a stretch of plays in the first quarter and 4 minutes of this game. Let's say first quarter for Jokic especially, where they couldn't play at the level because they had no rotation. They couldn't play drop because he wasn't paint protecting against Harden on layups. And then he also got put on an island with Kawhi Leonard and let him blow by him. And at that point, I'm just looking around like, yo, what are they doing? And what are you doing? But I'm telling y'all, once the Denver Nuggets got Jokic back in the game with about 8 minutes left, from that point on, they played A-level defense the rest of the game. And it starts with your big man getting physical at the level, being physical on the board. Christian Braun got physical at the point of attack. Jamal Murray held his own today. We got a lot to talk about with Jamal Murray. Aaron Gordon switched on to Kawhi Leonard, and that dude, I'm telling you right now, man, made a statement today. And then you get Russell Westbrook playing just spectacular defense on and off the ball. He crowded the area of James Harden, especially so many times today, and especially y'all when we got in overtime. That last steal and deflection he got on James Harden won them the overtime. Jamal Murray, Kawhi Leonard with the game on the line on the right wing. He's one-on-one with Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi knocks his arm away. He knocks the ball off of his leg. Turnover, Denver basketball. Russ and Murray made two of the biggest plays of the game. Both of them. Just exceptional defense. And that's what it's going to take. All year, if you have been listening to this show, all year, if you have been talking about this Denver Nuggets team, the whole question came down to, will they lock in and play defense at some point in time in this game? And they did it. And they did it at an extremely high level. Forget all the offense. Forget all of the offense. Forget all that stuff. It starts on the defensive end. It starts on the defensive end. You have to set the tone. You cannot let people walk by you on possessions. You cannot have poor rotations, poor defensive effort on rotations. You cannot allow for layup lines consistently at the rim. You're not beating anyone, especially a Clippers team. And the Nuggets responded because they started to attack the Clippers the same way the Clippers were attacking them. Like, they cut off the paint basically for the rest of the game. I can't say enough, man. David Adelman did an exceptional job in making some rotations down the stretch of that game. And one of the biggest things he did today is Michael Porter Jr. did not have it. Notice I have not said his name one time. He didn't have it today. This was not his game. Matt Moore, my colleague, said this is not going to be his matchup, and so far, he's been right. But today, man, Nikola Jokic, y'all, like I said, had an uncharacteristic first quarter. Like, one of the worst first quarters that you can imagine. One of the worst first quarters that you can imagine for a player of his caliber. But it doesn't end there. The story never ends there. He showed up and he responded by starting on the defensive end and making sure to do his job first there. He ends the game with 29 points, 12 assists, 9 rebounds, 3 steals, 1 block. 1 of 4 from the three-point line, 11 of 20 from 2, 4 of 6 from the free throw line, including 2 huge misses that would have given the Denver Nuggets a lead. But he missed both of them with a minute and 27 seconds left, I believe. 54 true shooting today. This was a pure rock fight. But look, Jokic, after being a -8 in the first quarter, I believe, ends the game as a +10, basically an 18-point swing from the first quarter to the rest of the game. Just an exceptional performance from him down the stretch. The shot making and the passing, y'all, I'm telling y'all. When Jokic is at his best, what makes him what he is he's able to diagnose everything that's happening in front of him on the offensive end and able to get you consistent looks. He found Russ, whether it was on the little cut-in passes, off the doubles, towards the rim. He found Aaron Gordon. He found Christian Braun. He was setting elite screens today for Jamal Murray. Elite screens, and especially with Chris Dunn, Kawhi Leonard, and Derrick Jones Jr., they were throwing multiple bodies at Murray. And you got to create separation somehow. He did an elite job doing that. And again, y'all, one of the things that happened to him today is that he playing versus Zubac, he has to adjust how he's playing because Zubac is really good. He might make All-NBA this year. He's been that good. He could win DPOY this year. He's getting DPOY votes. He might finish first-team All-NBA this year. He's been that good. And Zubac deserves a lot of credit for how well he played in this game, defensively especially. But y'all, Jokic, despite all that, he turned the corner and he started to use patience, footwork, and timing to his advantage. Because if you can't brute force your way to where you need to go, what you can do is quite simply make sure you're determining the pace of the game for everybody else. Now we're waiting for the double. Now we're waiting to see when they're going to send the help from. And in the end of the game, y'all, what they started doing is, as good as Russ played, he wasn't shooting well. And so what the Clippers did, they started doubling the two-man game. Ty Lue did something that I have not seen in high volume against the Denver Nuggets in the last few years. Ty Lue started sending a double at the two-man game, regardless of who had the ball, from Chris Dunn coming off of Russell Westbrook. And they would leave Russell Westbrook wide open as a shot maker or as a play creator. And then they would play defense from there. And that was an amazing adjustment by Tyronn Lue. I think that is the kind of stuff that you like to see from a team that is, they know they don't have a chance. Like the Clippers, as good as they are defensively, they're not going to consistently stop the two-man action because, again, Jokic is creating too much space with the trees. And then on top of that, Jamal Murray in the second half started hitting more and more of his jumpers. And then also, too, they were sending pre-rotations at Jokic at the three-point line. Again, I want people to understand, like, even if the box score numbers are good, 29, 9, and 12 is really good. But what happened, what changed this game is the fact that the Clippers were rotating their entire defense towards Jokic the rest of the second half because they didn't want to give up any more one-on-one opportunities or one-on-one opportunities with whoever's getting the ball from Joker on a DHO or from a screen. Honestly, it was just an exceptional game, but the Nuggets and Jokic, they just out-executed them down the stretch. Just an excellent game for Nikola Jokic, best player in the world. And after a horrific first quarter, from the rest of the way, he set the tone and let everybody know he was the best player on the floor. And then today, Aaron Gordon, y'all, 25 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals for Aaron Gordon. And again, they don't win this game without him today, y'all. They don't win the game without Aaron Gordon. AG played some of the best defense on Kawhi Leonard that you could have asked for. Aaron Gordon's defense on Kawhi Leonard changed the direction and complexity of the game. Like, honestly, it was just what he does attacking closeouts, what he does in being able to space the floor for the Denver Nuggets team that's already lacking so many things offensively. And then on the defensive end, this is what you pay him for. This is why he got the 4-year extension. It's because of what happens after that. Is that in the playoffs, AG gets to the point where he is able to lock in defensively in a way that they just don't have without it. Like Aaron Gordon's physicality on the offensive board, y'all, and Russell Westbrook's physicality on the offensive board. One of the things that, and again, y'all know this. Y'all know this. I'll explain this again to y'all. Because the way Jokic is guarded, and especially in this matchup by a traditional big, that means you're going to have so many opportunities to get offensive rebounds in this game. Aaron Gordon has 5 offensive rebounds in this game, and Russell Westbrook has 4 offensive rebounds in this game. You get 9 offensive rebounds from 2 very strong players, and that creates 9 second chance points for Denver tonight. The Nuggets scored 56 points in the paint. The Clippers scored 60 points in the paint today. Like, it became a rock fight, y'all. Like, legitimately became a rock fight. And then in the second half, the Clippers only shot 44% from the field. The Nuggets shot 45% from the field. Again, like, both teams were just playing super hard. Super hard. And the Nuggets just knew that in order to win this game, they're going to have to be able to find ways to win on the margin. And they did that tonight. Just super aggressive, y'all. 11 offensive rebounds for the Clippers, 12 offensive rebounds for the Nuggets. The Nuggets get 11 steals today as well. Like, again, you got to force as many turnovers as possible. And on the other end of that, Russell Westbrook did a great job at that. Nikola Jokic did a great job at that all the way around. They did an exceptional job later in the game and in overtime to make sure they were shutting off the water for the Clippers. Michael Porter Jr., I'll just get this out of the way. He had 3 points. He played 26 minutes tonight, and he was just bad. The shooting wasn't there. The confidence wasn't there. The driving wasn't there. The defense wasn't there. Just nothing going for him today. Look, I've had this conversation so many times. This is another series he's being phased out of because of the other team, not because of Denver. The other team is phasing him out. You can't just not be physical. Like, you can't just be there and exist on the floor. You have to be able to contribute in some meaningful way. Some meaningful way. And I think some of this is like, you're going to have to be able to get to the point where you're able to get consistency from Michael Porter Jr. as a rebounder, as a defender, or as a shooter, or as a scorer. And the problem is, y'all, he didn't do any of that today. And I'm not going to harp on it because they won the game, but it is what it is. But this is what I was talking about months ago about him. If he does not do his job, force the issue, make shots, they can't play him because he's not a good enough defender. And that's exactly what happened today. And Russ took his job, as he should. Peyton Watson took his job, as he should. Jamal Murray today, 21 points for Jamal, but look at y'all. 9 rebounds for Jamal Murray. 7 assists. 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 21 points for Jamal. All around game. He was only 7 of 20 from the field, which is 35%. He was 3 of 7 from 3. He made some huge 3-pointers down the stretch of the game. He was a plus 12 today. He was a team high plus 12. So Murray played 48 minutes today as well. He played more than anybody else on the team. So his minutes are going to be really important, and it's going to be really important they're able to just find ways to continue to give him opportunities, but not a good start like as a shooter. But he made a lot of winning plays, including the winning defensive play outside of that Russell Westbrook play on Kawhi Leonard. And the middies that he hit that were important. The layups he hit were important. And then on top of that, like I said, like you go under on a screen with Jamal Murray, you're gonna get like you might get cooked more than likely. He's one of the best drop coverage attackers in the league. And he did that today, 21, 9, and 7. You can live with that. Overall, like I said, you want to see him hit at least 3 more shots today, at least 2 more shots. But overall, I think a really good second half, especially for Jamal Murray, and really important minutes. Christian Braun was honestly like, again, the defense he played down the stretch of the game was impeccable. 11 points, 3 rebounds, 5 of 10 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3. And the 3 that he hit was the biggest 3 of the game. Could have put them up 4. And it was off of yet another Jokic double. And that honestly gave them so many opportunities today to just allow him to play a one-on-one. And he didn't even do like a tremendous job all day. But again, he has a hard job on this team. You got to cover Kawhi. You got to cover James Harden. You're going to have to cover SGA. You got to cover LeBron. You got to cover Luka. You got to cover a bunch of folks. And it's been a hard year for him. He's had to learn a lot, and he did an exceptional job doing that today. So shout out to him. 45 minutes for him. They won the minutes with him on the court again. Russell Westbrook today, y'all, incredible game. 15 points for Russ, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals, including the defensive play of the game where they try to inbound the ball to James Harden. He knocks it away. James Harden hits it off his fingers, and they end up scoring, getting free throws on that possession. And again, Russ made 3 or 4 free throws today, and all those free throws made a big difference. He made one of the second biggest 3 of the game. Christian Braun made the biggest 3. Russ made the second biggest 3, and then Murray made the third biggest 3, like huge 3-pointers. Russ made 2 of them. You get 33% from Russ, you live with that. Like the only adjustment that I think they're going to have to make is when at the end of those games and the offensive possessions, when the Clippers start sending, like I said, that automatic double off of Russ on the 2-man game. So whoever has the ball at half court, they're sending the double and then pre-rotating to Jokic, sending the double and then pre-rotating to Murray. They're probably going to have to see if MPJ can play some of that, because if they're just going to leave you wide open, then you need the best shooter out there to do that. And he's got the chance. He has to be able to prove that. But again, Russ did make them, but it's not just about Russ making them. It's about the process. Because even the shot at the end of the game, they doubled the 2-man game. Russ gets the ball, doesn't want to shoot a 3, didn't want to drive, ends up like pump faking, throws the ball off Kawhi's back, the back of his back, but then doesn't pass the ball out to Joker. And just one of those scramble plays, like where it's just up and down, the missed layups, all that stuff. It's up and down, but you'll take the offensive rebounding. You'll take the defense he played tonight. All that stuff helped immensely. But especially if Michael Porter Jr. is going to do what he did today, which is nothing, and that's on Porter. That's his fault. Then it's going to look like that. But just like I said, important minutes for him. Peyton Watson today, 14 minutes played. He was a -8. Jalen Pickett was a -8. Russ was a +7. Murray's a +12. Braun was a +5. Jokic was a +10. Aaron Gordon, even in his minutes, he stayed with the second unit. And then Michael Porter, 26.5 minutes. He was a -8. So, again, all the way around, y'all, like, super important win. All right, I'm going to go. Let me tell y'all these defensive numbers. I want people to understand the defensive numbers, how bad they were. All right, so quarter one. Let's see here. Oh, sorry, that's overtime. My bad, overtime. Let's go to quarter one. Y'all know how bad the defense was? The Nuggets had a 152 defensive rating in the first quarter. 152 defensive rating in the first quarter. They did have a 123 offensive rating, but it had a 152 defensive rating in the first quarter. It was horrible. Like, it was abysmal. And it starts with Jokic. Jokic just was the worst. Jokic that had a 139 defensive rating when he was on the court. They had a 188 with Gordon and 188 with Michael Porter Jr. It was horrible. Second quarter, though, like I said, things started to flip. In that quarter, Jokic had a 47 defensive rating, and Christian Braun had a 47 defensive rating, but they had an 88 offensive rating. This is when it became a rock fight. Like, it became a for real rock fight. But they made adjustments. They started to change their pick and roll coverage on Harden. They started to play Jokic play off of Dunn, Jokic play off of DJJ, Jokic play off of Kawhi. But like I said, most of this was Jokic started playing with real effort. And then Christian Braun started getting some open court steals. And then they had a 13-2 run also to close the first half, which put them down. Shoot, I can't remember. I think it was 4. I think they had a 4-point deficit at the end of the first half. But y'all, the real story is the second half, y'all. Y'all, in the second half, the Denver Nuggets had a 107 defensive rating. And then Jokic had a 111 defensive rating, but he had a 127 offensive rating. They started to pick it up, and their defense literally made a huge difference. Everything started to change. Everything started to change from there on out. Like I said, the intensity was there. They were attacking the Clippers as often as they possibly could. And then in overtime, they just overtimed them to death, and they just started hitting free throws. They started getting to the rim. I mean, anything and everything you could have asked for. And then today, like when Kawhi Leonard was on the court, when Zubac was on the court, like the defense was horrible in the overtime because they just couldn't get any stops. The Nuggets were just time and time again, we're just taking advantage of them. And it's like I said, the story flipped, y'all. Like at first, in the first half, it was horrible defense, bad offense. And then except at the end of the second quarter, and then for the rest of the game, it was very good defense and then good offense the rest of the way. So, like I said, y'all, you don't win in the playoff without playing defense. I've said this all year. If this team is going to keep playing the way they were playing, and they're not going to show real effort, they're not going to try, they're just going to BS their way through like they were in the first quarter, they're going to get smacked. And that's why I picked the Clippers to win the series, because you don't know what they're going to do. MPJ had this kind of a game that he had today. He gets subbed out for Russ, as he should, Peyton, as he should. But would they play defense? And they did. They took it personal. They played defense. They got a win. They're up 1-0 versus the Los Angeles Clippers. Just a huge win, y'all. Swipa gang, make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe, man. We're on the way. We're building up to 13,000 subscribers, y'all. Y'all know what time it is. What an amazing game. Denver Nuggets up 1-0 versus the LA Clippers.